Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about data types in Python. The ones that we're going to cover today are 6 of them. They're the most commonly used ones. There's a couple other ones also. But these are the ones we're going to use the most. The first one is a float. Kind of a weird word for it, but a float is just something with a decimal place. So if we have someone's height, let's say is 1.778 meters tall, and then just to find out, if you're ever wondering what kind of data type something is, you can call this function type and give it the thing that we want to find the type of, and then go ahead and print it, and it will let us know what kind of data type it is. This one says it's a float. The next one is an integer. An integer is just a whole number. So we can have something like a person's age is a good example. Then we can go ahead and print this out too. And we'll just do height and age, and we see that it's an int. So int is something we're going to work with later, the int, as opposed to the full name of integer. And then we have strings. Strings are just basically words, text. And you'll notice that they're strings because they have quotes with them. You can either have double quotes or single quotes. I like to work with double quotes because a lot of times in sentences we use single quotes for like it's and he's and she's. A lot of people just like using a single quote because you don't have to hit shift. Your choice. So we're going to have like words, hello there. And then we're going to go ahead and print out the type of words. And we'll see that that one's a string. The next one is a Boolean. Boolean is just simply true or false, on or off, 0 or 1. Knows that there's a capital at the beginning. So we could be like, is valid. If you're doing like a login or something like that, we can say true. Then we can do print type and then is valid. Notice that I call these a little bit differently, or I name them a little bit differently. This one has a verb in front of it. A lot of the times you want to start your Booleans with verbs like is or has or can. That way it makes a little bit more sense when you're reading your code that you're working with a Boolean. Go ahead and run that, and we see that it's a bool. And then we also have a list. A list is super common. A list is for related data. You can also put unrelated data in there, or data types that are like different data types. It's good practice though to use the same data type in a list. So if we have something like friends, and then we have Aaron, Becca, and Dom. So we start it with square brackets, and then we separate each item with a comma. You can put numbers in there like I'm showing up here, any of these data types. Then we can go ahead and print that. And then we'll see that it's a list. A list is really common also for when you're getting data from like a database. Normally there's a lot of things that come back from a call to a database, and you store them in lists. And the last one that we're going to cover is a dictionary. And a dictionary is pretty much set up like you would think, where you have a key. So this is called a key, and this is the value of that key. So if you were looking up the word funny in the dictionary, you would call it by this key, and then you would get that for your value. So we can do, let's say a person, something generic, and a person can have a name, and then will be Steve, and then a comma, and then any other attribute that you would like to give to them. Age is 34. And then we'll do print type person. And then we'll see that it's a dictionary. A lot of times you'll also see dictionaries written on separate lines, so that's a lot easier to read. Something that kind of looks like this. Dictionary is also used for related data. In this case, this single person has a very specific name and a very specific age, and you can keep going, and it can be a huge list of things. So those are the most common data types in Python. Now that you learned about data types, how about we learn about naming our variables? Take a look at that right over here. Right there. Go ahead.